it was even more, I think, of a very personal branding identification per
Okay.
se.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really looking at, at myself internally and who am I and my purpose and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that, it was like, an eye opener. Integrity should also be part of it all,
Mm-hmm.
such that we are very, strict about the policies and we mean it so that we don't end up with, more emissions, dirty rivers, our forests being cut off
Yeah.
because we are taking, small money. In Kenya, we say tea,
Mm.
taking tea. So
Taking so money.
yeah, be yourself.
Yourself.
Just show up as you are
Mm-hmm.
with your accent, with your just the way you are.
Yeah.
Don't pretend to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the 5 P's. Can you talk a little bit more about what those are and how
Yes,
you helped you get to this identification of your personal brand?
yes. So the 5 P's are, yes. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
You look lovely.
You too. Thank you.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, like we talked about your hair already. So, because I have another Kenyan friend who was just home. You guys come back with your hair like laid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
We
know.
go home and on the last, like 2 days before you take your flight, you
Yeah.
have to go to the salon, get your
Uh-huh.
nails done, get your
Get
hair
your hair
done.
done.
And
Mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm.
this hair has to be something sustainable for at least 2 months or three.
Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm like, there are artists in Kenya that I don't know elsewhere because I don't think I've seen this in Zimbabwe. Like, I must
Yeah.
say.
People
So
are
she had
talented.
this hairstyle that I literally was like, please send me pictures, right?
Yeah.
And I was showing it actually to my hairstylist here, and she was looking at it, she
Mhm.
was like, do you have a video? And I'm like,
There's
which one?
mad talent. Mad talent. Yeah.
Mad talent. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Me and Nairobi still have a pending date in the future.
Ah,
Because I
okay.
haven't
Maybe.
been.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I also haven't been to Zimbabwe, and I really want to go and see the falls and see the
Yes.
waterfalls. I think it's a
Oh.
beautiful thing. I always see it
Yes.
on like social media. I'm like, I want to go there. It's beautiful.
It is as beautiful and as majestic as you see it. And it also kind of fills you with, I don't know, like so much awe, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy when you see it in person, I must say. The falls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, Ashley, welcome to B Squared C.
Happy to be here.
Super excited to be telling your story today. All right, let's kick off with Ashley, what was the highlight of this past week for you?
Actually, the highlight of my past week is that we went on a skiing holiday with my colleagues, and I had never skied before. It was intense, and I learned
Wow.
how to. There was skiing lessons, and
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it all, I was able to ski. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
Because like black people skiing, questionable.
Nah. Yeah.
And for me, it's literally my relationship with winter and coldness is just, it's not there. I don't even want to say there's
Yeah.
a relationship.
I know it's hard. It's like, never being used to the cold, never being
Yeah.
used to the
Mhm.
temperatures. You also don't think that you can even actually go outside. But then,
And have fun, right? So winter
yeah,
sports for me are literally like, why are we doing this? Why?
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
I want to be cozy on my couch in a onesie and like watching movies,
yeah.
not
And
not be
drinking
out there.
chocolate,
Yes.
drinking hot chocolate, hot steams.
I
Yeah.
would do that. If you do take me on a ski holiday, I will be in the hot tub. Thank you very
All
much.
right. All right. And in the sauna.
But I love it that you are getting all these experiences that are very new to you, right?
Yeah.
I think I remember when I went sailing for the first time as
Ooh,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, I cannot swim. So it was pretty high risk for me, just in case I fall into the North Sea.
Ocean.
But
Oh,
here I
God.
was, like vibing on the boat, and I'm
Mhm.
just like, yeah, it takes you out of your comfort zone entirely, right? And
Yeah.
I also have so skiing. I would say it is also on my bucket list of sorts, because I want to be open to, I think these experiences were, first of all, inaccessible to me, right? Because I didn't grow up,
Exactly.
well, I didn't grow up here, but also didn't grow up with the resources to be able to do these types of activities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I would try it at least once before I say I absolutely hate it.
Right. True. I understand. Like, it's very relatable to me. You know, you need to try out these things that you never tried before because of
Yeah.
many reasons.
Yeah.
And you
Mm-hmm.
never know if you'd like it. So on my first day, I was really on my nerves. I was really falling
Yeah.
down. I was
Yeah.
hating it. And on the second day, it was getting better. And on the third day, I was able to do it. And I actually
Wow.
liked it. So before you actually say you hate it, try it,
Yeah.
you might enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad.
Okay.
All right, Ashley, let's get into your story. Can you
Yeah.
introduce yourself to our audience? Just a little bit about who you are, where you're based,
Mhm.
what do you do, and then tell us 3 words that describe you and why.
Okay. So my name is Ashley Kioko. I am an electrical engineer by training. I am 28 years old. I studied in Kenya and then I later moved to the Netherlands to pursue my career in e-mobility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about sustainability and climate solutions. I love to cook. I love to travel and to spend time with friends and my family.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 words that could describe me, I would say I am lively. And
Mm-hmm.
because I just like, to keep the positive energy, positive
Yeah.
vibes all through.
Yes.
It's nice.
That I can
And
already attest to.
yeah, and even if you're feeling so, low, which is normal, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you just have to keep it going. And I'm real. So most of the times I'm just real, just the way
Yeah.
it is, and
Yeah.
honest and being true to myself.
Right. I love that.
And yeah, and I'm kind. And it's because, yeah, I just like to treat people the way I treat them. So
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you have kindness, then kindness will come back to you. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Oh, stop being so sweet. What is this, Ashley? I mean, I
Yeah.
can, because I have, even if I've known you for so little time, right? And we
Yeah.
still owe each other an actual physical date.
Yes. And ugali and cooking
I
ugali
already
with some
feel
meat.
that kind of energy from you as well. So thank you for sharing those. All right, let's get into your career. Ashley, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
So actually, I always really wanted to be an engineer. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
How did you come upon this profession?
Yes. So when I was young, we used to go on very many like tours and trips from my primary school.
Okay.
So they
Mm-hmm.
used to expose us to a lot of environments, take us to the national park, take us
Mm-hmm.
to airports, take us to, waterfalls and all that. But then there's this time we went to an airstrip,
Mm-hmm.
and then we visited a place where they have maintenance for the flights, and
Mm-hmm.
we could see people working there. And I was like, inspired.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then after that, I remember I went home and told my mom, I want to be an engineer and I want to be it's called an aeronautical engineer, the
Wow.
people who
Okay.
work in
Mm-hmm.
flights. And fueled by this, I also told like my relatives, and I also had a mentor, two of
Uh-huh.
them. One of them is called Francis Njoronge, and the
Okay.
other one is called George Gasheru. These were really my mentors, and they really, helped me to, maneuver with school and to make the right subject choices. Because when you're in high school in Kenya, at
Uh-huh.
least in my time, when you reach your second year, you need to choose some certain subjects that will help
Mm-hmm.
you in your career choice.
Right. Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
advised me a lot to study, sciences, physics,
Mm-hmm.
and chemistry, and to, be really keen in getting good grades in those. And then by this, I also got the grades to
Yes.
choose a engineering course. But then one thing, aeronautical engineering in Kenya is quite expensive at that time.
Ah, I see. So I want to
Expensive.
pause here and
Yeah.
note a couple of things.
Yeah.
First of all, right, you can't be what you can't see, right?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think exposure and role modeling is so important, especially for kids, even when they are so young, right? Look at you. You saw engineers working and you were
Yeah.
like in primary school and you were like, I want to be that.
Yeah. It's
You
like,
know, yeah.
and seeing is believing, seeing is believing. So if
Yes.
you never see it, you
Mm-hmm.
don't think about it, you
Yeah.
don't even believe it,
So
Yeah.
let me ask you something on that,
Mm.
what you saw and experienced the first time. Did you see women as well?
Actually, yes. Yes.
Ah,
I
love that.
saw there was but just one woman.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
she's
No, one is enough, right? But I was so
yeah,
curious. How did you start visualizing yourself? Because you could just have mad dreams. I had mad dreams,
yeah.
right? That were just like,
Multiple.
"Hey, I'm gonna do that," and they're just like, "Why? Look at you! Like you don't fit into this world, right?" But
Yeah.
you seeing a woman engineer, I think it's
Yeah.
so important.
It was so important. And actually that airstrip was in the military base of Kenya.
Uh huh.
So it was actually diverse, but she was
Yeah.
just one woman and she was actually the one who was taking us through.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it just stayed with you until then, right? And then
Yeah.
I'm already then seeing early on the influence of mentors in your life as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like this is something that continuously comes back on this podcast with absolutely everyone, and I want to know. So you already named them, but how did you, were they like family friends? How did you find those mentors? And
Okay.
did you call them mentors at that time, or is it something you realize now that they were mentoring you?
Actually, I do realize now that they were mentoring me.
There you
When I
go.
was young, they were more of my uncles.
So
Yeah.
they saw your potential and they were like, we are gonna make sure she's guided through the right
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Because one of them, because in Kenya there's a very strong church culture,
Okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Christian
mm-hmm.
culture. So I
Yes.
come from a Christian family, and we used to go to church with my mom when I was young. And one
Uh-huh.
of this family friend we met in church, and we are still also friends out to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was a friend of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I met them, through my mom, and one through church, and one was like a close friend to my mom. Mhm. I think they
Right.
went to university together.
Love it. And I just love the whole scenario, right? Adults being like, okay, she's smart. We can see that. Let's make sure
Mhm.
that she gets through the right things to
Yeah,
get to where she needs to, right? Then the
yeah,
third thing that stands out to me already is sort of the power of manifesting, right?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
told
yeah.
everyone who would listen that you wanted to be an engineer, right?
Right, man.
Right, and then this is how also then these mentors that you got so
Mm-hmm.
that and were able to support you like in your journey
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
it's true. When you talk about like manifesting, sometimes when you say it, it sounds so
Sounds
vague, and
spooky.
people start think it's not real.
Yeah.
And but
Mm.
it's like, when you think about it, you work on it, then it eventually results into something.
Yeah.
So it's something we used to see in high school. Is like, when you saw a thought, you reap an action. When you reap an
Mm-hmm.
action, when you saw an action, you reap a habit, and
Mm-hmm.
when you saw a habit, you reap a character.
There you go.
So it starts with a thought, an action, habit, and then you have a character.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I think all of us should get into the practice of speaking things that we want, right?
So,
So again, to a lot of people, it sounds like a little crazy, right? And a little out there.
yeah.
But first off, letting people know what you need, right? I think that's part of what you did here as well. But
Mhm.
I think the universe does like conspire to give
It
you what you
combines
say you want,
exactly,
right?
and it also aligns, and it looks at you,
And
and
looks
it's
at
like,
you.
yeah,
Hey, I'm using those words. People who are
yeah.
religious will say, like, are you religious, by the way?
Not anymore. But
Not
when I was
anymore.
young, I was really, really into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
But
yeah,
everyone has different ways of expressing this, though. Like
yeah,
God definitely put all of this in your path for some people, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever kind of belief system that you hold. But I'm so glad that this is how it happened for you. You
Yeah,
know,
it
so
really does
already
happen.
dropping gems, Ashley, dropping gems on us. Okay,
Yeah.
so aeronautical engineering, expensive in Kenya. What then
Yeah.
did you do?
So, well, it's expensive in Kenya, and also at the same time, the best schools that offer the aeronautical engineering are the schools that are in the military. So,
Okay.
you can either choose that or that. So, well, I was really devastated when I found that out because, you're
Yeah.
young and
Yeah.
perhaps also really naive. And
hmm
when my mom was telling me it's expensive, I thought she was against me, It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then she had a sit down with my two mentors and plus my mom, and then we talked through about it. And then they told me there's also other courses that can help you become also an aeronautical engineer, that it's not a must you study aeronautical engineering to be an
hmm
aeronautical engineer. Okay. So then I decided to study electrical engineering. And then
hmm
with electrical engineering, you can you can choose certain majors
Yeah.
that can lead to such a career. So there's
Okay.
telecommunications, and then telecommunication is also about radios and things like that. And that's
hmm
really, if you major in that, you can work in the flights.
Right.
There's power. And then if with power, of course, you work for electricity production, transmission,
hmm
and distribution. And there's also renewable energy.
Okay.
And while I was studying, okay, then eventually I chose the electrical engineering. Even while I was studying, I realized, oh, I don't even like these other two options. I
Yes.
like renewable energy. And then that's how I ended up
Oh,
to work in mobility. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Okay. So studying gave you kind of perspective, right?
Yeah.
Of like
Yeah.
what exactly you liked to do, and you liked renewable energy. So
Yeah.
that then links to what you said, you're passionate about climate action. And
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit more about that. How have you been developing? So you studied the subject, and then tell us the rest of your career arc and what you are doing in the space right now.
Yeah. So, well, now I'm really working in sustainability in
hmm
energy. So
hmm
in my project in university, I developed a rotating solar panel system
Okay.
that follows the sun. Well, it was like a lot of hard work and it was a lot of coding, and I hate to code, but
Yeah.
my friends helped me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because in university you just help each other, because of course not one person knows everything. So they helped me, and then finally I was able to present the project. And then later on I did an internship, actually
Okay.
volunteering, which was my first role in
Right.
this company in Kenya that has manufactures electric bikes
Okay.
for industry. And
E-bikes.
also at that time, they were also manufacturing electric vehicles for the safari industries,
Okay. I see.
and also installing solar panels for hospitals, schools, and so.
Mm-hmm.
Then I worked in that company. After my volunteership, I was offered a role, and then I stayed there for like 2 years. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also needed, a career change, or I needed something more.
Mm-hmm.
And I also needed a job that could also help me to travel, because I also love to travel.
Okay.
Needed
Okay.
such a
Mm-hmm.
package, and I was not getting that in my previous role. So then now I started to apply for many jobs. Then, and actually, I didn't know where I would end up. I
Mm-hmm.
was just applying. And then the opportunity in the Netherlands is the one that was
That
successful.
came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And this time it was about charging systems and for the electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how now
That's how you
I'm
ended
in
up where
this
you are
space.
now.
Yeah.
Let me ask a couple of questions about your experiences in Kenya. First of all, when were you studying again? Which years?
For 2014 up to
Mm-hmm.
2019.
Because I'm really fascinated that renewable energy was a study topic already then, right? Um, so I'm like, okay, that's really cool that you have that in Kenya in your schools as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious also about how this topic was evolving in Kenya
Mhm.
itself, right?
Mhm.
So how were you experiencing it? Of course, you did end up at a company that was working on this topic in a specific way, but
Yeah.
what were the trends then?
Yeah. Actually, in Kenya, it's like 80% of the energy is powered by renewable energy. So,
Really?
yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of, we have wind energy, we have
Uh-huh.
geothermal, we
Uh-huh.
also have hydro,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of solar energy, because also the grid is very good now. It has really improved from like 10 years ago. Right now,
Okay.
it's almost everybody has a connection,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that time, if it's a very, very off-grid place, then they have solar panels and,
Okay.
something that they can power their phones, their TVs, something. And so in off-grid areas, you find they have solar, but
Mm-hmm.
in very a city, you find they have direct connection to the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Kenya is ahead of course. I this is not very familiar to me
Yeah.
in Zimbabwe, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um my parents recently have solar because we have electricity problems in Zimbabwe,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Our main electricity source is hydroelectric, right from
Mm-hmm.
the waterfalls and
Yeah.
everything. And then it's a very recent thing that is not kind of a mainstream thing. It's more
Mm-hmm.
like you have the privilege to have solar panels or something of that nature that gets you still power when the grid is like off, of which we have
Mm-hmm.
like blackouts, right?
Yeah.
And also the stuff like that. So I'm super interested in that. Kenya is this seems like it's way ahead of
Yeah.
all of us
It's
in
actually
this.
really it's way ahead, because I think the biggest supply is also the geothermal, because like in the
Mhm.
Rift Valley, there's a lot of geothermal activity. And
Ah.
then this geothermal activity, they set up now a lot of geothermal power plants. And there's
Mhm.
also, well, it cannot compare with the waterfall in
Yeah.
Zimbabwe. But there's some minor waterfalls
Uh-huh.
that also offer the hydro. And then the sun, of
Ah.
course, because we are in the equator.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so there's
Advantage
now,
equator,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's very, then the winds, because there's like now very big wind farm
Okay.
in a place
Mm-hmm.
called Turkana
Mm-hmm.
that has a very good capacity of wind. So it's really good and very sustainable.
Yeah.
There's some, of course, there's some small diesel plants. Like I was also an intern in a diesel,
Plant. Mm-hmm.
and it really gives you perspective. It really makes you see that it's really not good for the environment, because while you're
Oh.
there, it was very the way they purify the end product, like the water that goes
Mm-hmm.
inside
Mm-hmm.
the waste plant. It still has oil, and then it's still going to go to the river,
Right.
and you see it, and you're like,
Ah.
I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're slowly decommissioning these plants.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
at that time also, where it's like when I was still in Kenya, there was a news that they wanted to open a coal plant in the coast of Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people were against it, and there was activists protesting. And
Right.
actually, the activists and people about the environment won, and the coal plant was not even constructed.
Wow.
So it's really going in the right direction with energy. Yeah.
I am excited to expose people to more of this,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially this particular story. Because first of all, I didn't know it, but also I think it always seems like the topic of renewable energy is a very Western topic, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we don't. Well, we didn't know. I don't know what was happening in Africa on this topic, right? I think we have West Africa
Mhm.
that dominates conversation because they have oil, right?
Yeah, a lot of
And
oil.
they have a lot of oil, so that's the source of their economy, right? And then
Mhm.
yeah, I'm so glad to hear this and to expose more people to what Kenya is doing in this space.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. All right, let's go back to your career in moving to the Netherlands.
Yes.
How was that?
Well, I think I had underestimated how it would be. To me, I thought, yeah,
Mhm.
it's a new job, it's a new country. I just arrive
Adapt.
and start performing my
Yeah,
job
yeah.
properly. Bit
Mm-hmm.
naive about it, but the first 3 months
Mm-hmm.
are the most intense. Yeah,
And which year
most
did you
intense.
move again?
2022.
2022. Okay. So
So
after
I came,
post pandemic.
yeah, I came 2022 February.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the first 3 months, you do have to settle down, find an
Uh-huh.
apartment, which is impossible.
Yeah.
Find,
Yeah, it's housing in the Netherlands, our favorite topic. I
yeah,
really want to move from this apartment because I don't know if I will ever get something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Getting an apartment. You also need to go to a lot of appointments. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
like I made. You also need to go and get tests for your health,
Right.
which is also
So
a
a
bit
lot of
weird.
personal admin, right, to
A lot
just
of
settle
personal
in the
admin.
country. And
A lot
this
of,
was your first time moving to a foreign country, is it?
yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay. So that will also shake you up quite a bit. See, for me right now, the next,
Understand?
yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah,
also all these don't make you perform. Of course, you've been hired from a different country.
be
There's a lot of
exhausted.
expectations. Then you also
Mm-hmm.
need to perform. All these
Yes.
things
Yeah,
kind of drag your performance. And yeah,
it does. It does do
yeah.
that. Okay. So you're experiencing a lot from the move itself, and then you're coming into work. Tell me what it was like to integrate into the work culture here and into your company.
Yeah. That's also another thing that you also need to settle down in. Also the culture, the weather. I also
Mm-hmm.
came during winter and there was
Oh,
a lot of
honey.
windstorms. Poor me, the windstorms. I'd never seen something like that in my life.
Oh
So
no. Yeah.
that was quite strange, but it ended.
Okay.
Season changed.
Seasons change. I mean, in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, you can have like the different weather in 2 hours, so it
Yeah.
also happens. Okay, so lots of pressure with then also the weather and also the stuff like that. But so then what about work?
So about work, then of course they also try to give you some time to settle in
Mm-hmm.
and get the stuff in order, and then now to perform. But yeah, with work it was let me say different because they were setting up a new department,
Mm-hmm.
and I joined for that department, and then this department had not really fully been established.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we were, okay, me and my other colleague, we were employed for DC charging stations,
Mm-hmm.
but these DC charging stations had not been installed before. So it
Okay.
was a new project,
Entirely new. Okay.
entirely
Mm-hmm.
new project. And yeah, I think it was really kind of difficult for me to find a place to produce results, I can
Okay.
say, or
Mm-hmm.
find a place where I can help the organization because for my role, it's always about, troubleshooting and things like that. And
Right.
if it's not installed, there's no issues.
That's so interesting to consider. So
Yeah.
a lot of people describe, have you ever heard of the what are they called? They are described with colors.
Mm-hmm.
Insights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So engineers are often blue, people who are very
Mm-hmm.
blue, right? Do you know
Mm-hmm.
about that? Have you heard of
No,
that
this is
before?
interesting. This is new. Tell me more.
Look it up.
Yeah.
And I think you can take some online test, but it's like the colors are like blue, yellow, green, and red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blue people are like mostly the very technical people
Mm-hmm.
who like yeah, very visual, or not very visual, but like very like detail oriented, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
solve a problem. And a lot of engineers are very blue people. I think
Mm-hmm.
all of us can have multiple colors, but it's like you have more of one or the other. Then I
Yeah.
think people who are creative and more about relationships are like red
Yeah.
and green, right?
Uh-huh.
And yellow.
Uh-huh.
And then there are people who are visionaries who are like, so we all kind of fall somewhere in the spectrum. There's one where you lean more towards
Yeah.
more than others, right? So you are
Mhm.
being placed into a situation that requires entirely different skills
Exactly. Yeah.
than what
Yeah.
you have. You are like a technical person, a problem solver. Things have to be physically in front of you to solve
Yeah.
them. But now they are asking for entrepreneurial skills, right? They're
Yes.
asking you to be part of building a department and determining what it's going to be. What was then that transition for you like?
Well, it was really difficult because
Mm-hmm.
then um it was also more of sourcing the hardware, and
Mm-hmm.
I had done not really a sort of sourcing, but when I was in Kenya, I was like in R&D.
Mm-hmm.
So you research and then you build like the certain components that you want to be in this system, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then now you need to, get the whole package. That
Yeah.
was different. So we needed to do a lot of sourcing, a lot of evaluation of the charging systems, a lot of compliance
Mm-hmm.
checks. Was new. I learned a lot from my colleague about compliance. I also learned a lot about the installation journey, because in the Netherlands there's a lot of rules,
Mm-hmm.
which is good for safety. And I learned a lot about these rules. I also did a course on like electrical safety for the Netherlands specifically, which helped. So that transition helped together with these courses, and then now we were able to create, I don't know, installation journeys,
Mm-hmm.
maintenance journeys, and so on forth.
Okay,
So
so
that that
support
hmm
from colleagues, and then getting also some education on the new topic,
yeah
right?
yeah.
Is what helped you transition. Did you already have mentors when you were starting out?
Well, yes, my mentors were still there for me, but they're
Okay,
in Kenya.
right.
So their perspective is also a bit different,
Of
because the
course.
work culture here is also a bit different.
So did you have
So
new mentors, or did
no,
you seek out new mentors? Not yet at that point.
at that time I did not, but
Okay.
afterwards I had to seek a mentor, because
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling that it's not going in the right direction, and therefore I
Right.
sourced a mentor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's a lady from the US. She worked for, yeah. She mentored me and taught me the 5 Ps. You remember the 5 Ps I was telling you about?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, interesting to know. So I think then this was the growth opportunity for you, right? Well, first off,
Indeed.
there is the adapting to a new culture and the bigger environment, right? But then in your job itself, you then had the chance to could kind of grow new skills or get new skills, and you
Yeah,
used these types of resources, right? Leveraging your colleagues, leveraging some education material out there to step into this new type of role that still
yeah.
was very much in your area, but a little bit, new
Different.
in that
Yeah,
sense. Very
yeah.
cool. Okay. Then you sought out a mentor.
Yeah.
Was it like a mentor, or was it a coach? What was it? How did you find her?
Well, I think she can be both in a
Okay.
way, because
So
I
it's what?
found her through the Kenyan community. So
Okay. So Kenyan community. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
while I was in this role, I was talking with my Kenyan community, yeah, and about the state where I'm at and how I'd like to improve. And then my friend recommended to me her. So
Mm-hmm.
now I got into contact with her, sent her a message on WhatsApp, and then we started talking.
Is
Then we
she
organized
Kenyan as well?
yeah,
Okay. Okay. All
yeah.
right. So tell me about how you developed that relationship.
Yes. So through WhatsApp, just communicating, and then eventually we decided, okay, for like 3 months, we're going to have a call after every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we used to call after every Friday, so every Friday per se. And then
Mm-hmm.
we talked about current state, how I want to improve, and it was even more, I think, of a very personal branding identification per
Okay.
se.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really looking at, at myself internally and who am I and my purpose and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that, it was like, an eye opener.
Interesting. So it gave you
Yeah,
clarity on
it gave
how
me
you show
clarity.
up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you talked about the 5 Ps. Can you talk a little bit more about what those are and how
Yeah,
they helped you get to this identification of your personal brand?
yes. So the 5 Ps are power, passion,
Mm-hmm.
purpose, people, and platform. So, yes.
I actually didn't know what you were talking about.
Aha.
Yeah, for
Uh-huh.
me, I'm a marketer. So the four, I actually know the 4 Ps, which are a marketing thing, like
The different one. Uh-huh.
like positioning, like and stuff like that. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay, all right. So
Yeah.
can you say that again? So power,
Power,
uh-huh,
passion,
uh-huh,
purpose, people,
uh-huh,
platform.
platform. Okay. How did you navigate like all of that? What did you learn on all those on the 5 Ps about yourself?
Yeah. So this it took a lot of introspective. So, she used to ask me, so what is your power? So, and then, power is just what you have that is
Mm-hmm.
unique and that you
Mm-hmm.
can share with others, you can share with the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily also mean that your power is only professional. It can also be something that you share with your friends, relatives,
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
is so unique to you. So some people are really good at giving advice,
Mm-hmm.
whether
Mm-hmm.
it's professional, friendship advice, relationship advice, life advice, and also for like at work, maybe I can say for me it's also to provide, innovative solutions
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
to be a troubleshooter, to be a process improver and all that.
Right.
So it's just something that is unique to yourself. And then when we talk about passion, it's just something that really motivates you, something
Mm-hmm.
that makes you wake up every day in the morning. And to me, it is just to provide energy solutions that are sustainable.
Right.
And also passion can also be something that you're passionate about. Like people are passionate about sports, so
Mm-hmm.
they're really passionate about going to the gym and things like that. And then purpose is just how your power and passion offers value
Okay.
to
Okay.
others.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, in my role, my purpose is to really provide a seamless charging solution. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't want my customers to be going to a charging station and they're not able to charge, they are having issues.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then people, of course, these are your audience,
Mm-hmm.
and then you need also to look at what are the needs of your audience and how will you serve these people with your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then these people can also be like your internal customers at work. So this can be
Okay.
your direct colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it can be internal customers, external customers who are like the end users of your product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when we talk about platform, this is just what social media you can use to reach your audience.
Right.
It can be
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, it can be Instagram, it can be WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what platforms are you communicating your brand through?
Mostly for me, it's LinkedIn for
Okay.
my professional.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
just really use my Instagram for social things.
For
But
fun.
sometimes I can post something there that is also kind of professional,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not every time. I just like it to be just social. Yeah.
Ah, so are the
Yeah.
5 Ps something? Because when you said it, right, you said 5 Ps, and I was like, yeah, because I actually thought I knew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But what you just told me is entirely new. So is this something that is popular, or is this like a proprietary, method that this mentor uses?
I didn't even research if it's proprietary or something,
Okay.
but I believe if she shared, it's not really
Yeah.
private, right? Because if
No,
it's private,
at the end of the day, actually, when you work with a mentor slash or coach, right, it's how they drive the conversation with you that
Mhm.
matters. So tools
Yeah,
can be there, and of course people can use tools by themselves,
true.
but it's really how they are implemented that matters, right? So
Indeed, at the end of it.
I think this is quite a very, very powerful framework.
Mm.
And I think it will be like our audience, some of them will love to be able to use it as
Yeah.
well. Question. So first of all, did you pay your mentor?
Yes, at start, there's a small fee I paid
Okay.
for the tools and personal branding
Uh-huh.
coach class.
Uh-huh.
But
And
then,
is she open? Does she have a website or something? Is she open to receiving new clients?
yeah, she has a website I can share with you. She
Good.
also has an email address, can share it with you, so the audience can also see how they can seek help from her if they need.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love that. And is it a Black woman?
yeah,
It's a Black woman. Okay, okay.
yeah,
There's so many things about this situation that are like I want to highlight, right? Because it's so
yeah.
important. First of all, you leveraged your Kenyan community to find this person, right? So I think when you move, for example, finding community, finding like spaces with people who you identify with is incredibly important and is
Sure.
part of helping you settle in, right?
Yeah,
And then the second thing is the coaching industry is very crowded, right?
yeah.
Everyone and their mother thinks they are a life coach
A
or a
coach.
career coach or something of that nature. So you need some form of reference and recommendation to kind of find the right one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, again, reaching into your community, asking people, and being directed is something that, when anyone who's listening, when they're in need of it, they should be able to do that. Then the third thing for me that's significant is doing this type of work with a Black woman.
Yeah,
So this platform is about elevating the experiences and voices of Black women.
yeah,
And one part of me learning about this is I'm glad that we're going to expose her to other Black
yeah,
women who may need her help, right? But
yeah.
also, yeah, yeah,
Excuse me. Yeah.
good, fantastic. Ashley, I have a curiosity about the climate action area. So
Mhm.
first of all, it's amazing to talk to a Black woman who is in this space, because I
Mhm.
will say again, I think this topic is dominated by Western voices, right?
Yeah.
And they have a certain way that they even look at Africa, right? In this sense, they're knowing that Kenya is coming up with like the most advanced things, like as a country,
Yeah.
like renewable energy is mainstream. So there's that part of it. So I'm curious first to kind of know your experiences moving in this space, right? And in
Mhm.
conversations around it, there isn't, or my hypothesis is that there isn't a lot of diversity in it, right?
Well,
Is that
yeah,
what you're
it's true.
experiencing, and how are you navigating that?
That's very true. Like, everywhere you find that you're like the Black woman, and
The
then
only
you're
one.
like, in also some spaces you're like the only woman.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there are not also so many women who are engineers and also
Okay.
who work in the energy sector.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can be sometimes yeah, it can be alienating because my views are very, of course, different from male perspective.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes your views can be contradicting,
Yeah.
but then through allyship, then you find that your views are also, valued. Your
Yeah.
ideas are valued in that way. So sometimes it can be alienating, but not every time.
Not
Yeah.
every time. Okay. But you
Yeah.
say you're finding kind of allies, people who
Yeah.
get your point of view. Those are the ones who like help you, at least in this space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Question related to that, right? Just climate justice.
Yes.
So I think at the last COP, was it COP 28? I think. Yeah, that big meeting where all the governments and everyone go and talk about climate action. For me, it was such a significant meeting. The one in Egypt, I think it was such a significant meeting because it was the first time you were hearing very loudly the voices of, poor countries, right?
Yeah.
Because previously, obviously, everyone, again, we share the same sky, right? But we know who is emitting the most carbon, the
Yeah.
most carbon.
Yeah.
But the harm is coming more to the countries that are most vulnerable, right? Like Pakistan having like massive floods,
Yeah.
and famine and all these other things. So the impact is heavier on countries that are, under resourced. In that sense, I'm curious about your take on that topic, of
Yeah.
climate justice and how we can bring more, I guess, equity into the climate action conversation.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think for far, I also, everybody knows the data shows that, of course, the countries that are in Africa or do not have so many industries, of course, do not pollute more, of course. And then also more industries also just mean more emissions.
Right.
And I think first thing is accountability. So people in these countries that produce this more emissions should be accountable for them.
Right.
And really work towards replenishing the earth, and really work towards forestry and things like that. Because I remember you see the company I told you that when I was an intern there,
Right.
the diesel power station. Yeah, we used also to do some, planting trees every now and then.
Okay. They were able to offset their carbon emissions
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some initiatives like planting trees or, reclaiming land for forestry and things like that can really equate it, but it will take us a long time for the trees to grow
Of
and
course.
things like that. And for us and the countries like, for example, in Kenya, who are we really also affected by, the emissions because we, as you said, we share the same sky. We should also slowly also invest in our environment,
Right.
So the government should really invest in reclaiming rivers that are polluted, putting in strict restrictions and policies for companies that want to start up here and build industries in countries as such, so that they do not go beyond the emissions or go beyond certain limits for their waste. Because as you know, there are rules, but nobody really follows them because they can pay.
Casual rules.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think our integrity should also be part of it all, such that we are very, strict about the policies and we mean it, so that we don't end up with, more emissions, dirty rivers, our forests being cut off because we are taking, small money. In Kenya, we say tea, taking tea. So,
Taking so money.
yeah, if you stop taking tea, just be integral about our policies.
Yeah. Okay, I love that, and I'm excited for your career and where you are going to go with this. Right, I think your voice matters so much. Your experiences matter so much, and I hope to see more of your work out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, let's land this plane. Can you tell me a Black woman who inspires you and why?
Yes. This is late Professor Wangari Maathai. She was. Do you know about her?
I love her. I saw
Yeah.
her speak. I saw her speak once.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
a phenomenal woman,
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was born in 1940, and then she laid to rest in 25th September 2011.
Yeah.
And she was Kenyan social, environmental, and political activist
Right.
who founded, it's called the Green Belt Movement,
Green
but
Belt
it's like
Movement. Mm-hmm.
it's an non-government organization that is focused on planting trees, environmental conservation, and women rights.
Mm-hmm.
And she also won actually the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize.
Yes.
Nobel Prize.
I
Yes.
love her. Like, I was freaking out when I went to see her speak. So I saw
Yeah.
her. I was in undergrad at the time in
Wow.
Chicago, and she
Lovely.
was coming to speak somewhere. And my friends and I, we took the train to go see her. And I think I even got to ask a question on the mic.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing. You met a legend.
Yeah. She's just phenomenal. Yeah, of course, everything about the Green Belt movement is so inspiring.
Yeah.
And then to kind of fight. So I'm realizing that Kenya has always been true to this topic of
Really?
environmental action, right?
Yeah.
This is not new. This is why you are ahead on renewable energy and stuff like that, because you've been at it for much longer than a lot of us have even considered it.
Yeah. It's true. And also when when I grew up, I used to see it on the news every time, in the streets protesting. And at that time, well, right now there is a forest called Karura Forest because of her. They wanted to cut down the forest and do some housing projects and a lot of that. And all of this was land grabbing because this land was already set up for
the forest.
Yeah. But she was really passionate about it and protested, and also took allies who were representing her also in the parliament. So she was also not alone because she had allies who were really vying for the protection of this forest. And now and I think now people who live in Nairobi are happy that there's a forest there.
Okay, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I love Wangari Maathai. Yeah. Okay. Tell me a book that you read and loved, and why.
Nice. I read this book. It's called Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Okay.
So she believes that there's a difference between most successful people and people who are just not going beyond. So in her book, she says there's two kind of people. One of those is the people who just believe that success is based on their innate ability, that they were just born successful, and therefore they don't need to do anything to improve themselves. And then there are others who believe, and then now these people who are just believe they were born successful, she says they're in the category of a fixed mindset. And then there are others who believe that success is based on hard work, learning, training, perseverance, and not fearing to fail. And she mentions that these are like people who have a growth mindset. So it's just about how to improve yourselves. And then she brings about examples of successful people and what they do to become successful and things like that. So she puts examples of athletes there, for example, people who do running, how much time they spend on the training, how much time they spend on, let's say, really coaching, they getting coached and to improve themselves and such.
Okay.
So
Mindset.
Yeah, it's called Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Good, fantastic. We'll share that with the audience. Ashley, this has been so much fun and so insightful in many ways.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing your journey, your story, and how you are continuing to navigate your very interesting career in a very interesting area. So you've already dropped a lot of gems on us. I'm curious if you were to leave 3 pieces of advice for anyone listening to this podcast. So it's Black women, it's people who want to be allies. It's what would those be?
Okay, so just one thing is be yourself. Just show up as you are. with your accent, with your just the way you are.
Yeah.
Don't pretend to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is just don't be afraid of failing.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you fail, then you know one way of not doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other one is to always use credible information and have facts and data.
Oh, tell me more about
Yes.
that one.
Well, this is really like in my field, you can't really base your conclusions or assumptions based on a gut feeling,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No.
So
Just have facts.
have facts.
Just do your research.
So
Have
it's
the correct data to show how you came up with the conclusion.
it applies actually to everywhere, more than just to
Right?
your field as well. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Well,
Mhm.
Ashley, it was a pleasure to talk to you
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much again for sharing your story and bringing it onto the Biscuit C podcast. So inspiring
Thank
and
you.
rooting for you and everything that you are doing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I want to see your face on stages talking about climate action. I really do. I think it's
Word.
so important. We're manifesting it right now.
Yes. Yes,
Right, we're
we are.
manifesting it right now. But also
Yeah.
the things you shared around how you were coached to like improve how you saw yourself to help you settle into the new environment too. I think incredibly valuable to share with the community, and also to share the information about your coach and your mentor slash
Yeah.
coach in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, Ashley. Well, have a fantastic
Yes.
day.
Thank you. It was really nice to have this chat finally.
Yes, finally. Let's do that.
Yeah.